Here we are. We're live again.
We're live one more time.
Look at us in the same spot again.
This is it's a first. Actually, that's not.
But a new country.
That's right.
First time doing a webinar together in Costa Rica.
That's right. We are officially joined here by the man, the myth, the legend himself, John McMahon. How you doing, John?
Hey, I'm doing great, you guys. It's great to see you.
As always. Where are you coming from right now, John?
I'm coming from Shell Beach, California, Central California coast.
Fantastic.
Yeah, good to see
Cool.
you guys
So
in Costa Rica. I can see Costa Rica. Is that in the background there between you guys?
That's right.
That's right. Like right.
We're going to
there.
kind of walk this out via that mirror.
That's right.
This is pretty cool, guys. This is going to be pretty cool. So let us know in the chat box where you're coming from, and also vote in the poll. So we have a poll asking what type of diabetes you're living with. We want to know who's joining us tonight on this live webinar.
Yeah, we got a total of more than 1,500 people registered for this webinar, and over the course of the next 5-10 minutes, people will be trickling in. But we're expecting a couple hundred people here tonight, so this is going to be a really fun event. And John's going to get to share with us a lot of the incredible transformation that he's been through over the last, I guess it's been 6 months now at this point. Is that right, John?
Yeah, 6 months.
6 months. Incredible.
It's so incredible.
Yeah.
We were just joking how he's got to get a new headshot now. Like, he just continues to change, and it's just your vibrancy it's just amazing. I mean, it's awesome.
Thanks,
So-
man. It's good to be here.
Super glad to have you with us. So we're going to get into that. We have somebody saying they're from Detroit, Michigan. Excellent. Wonderful.
Yeah, so in the chat box, there's two things to do right now. Vote on the poll, and it's asking you what type of diabetes you're living with. And then in the chat box, in case you just joined us, tell us where you are coming from. Generally, Robbie and I tend to, when we do webinars, we have a pretty international audience. I mean, we got people
Absolutely.
from Iceland that came last time, people from Sweden. I think the other day we had someone from like Sri Lanka, maybe even. And, you know, obviously the bulk is the US, but it's always awesome to see where you guys are coming from. So don't be shy.
Irvine. Let's see here. Milton, Florida. Denver, Colorado. Destin, Florida. I think I played a tennis tournament there once. That's cool.
Wow.
Poland. Look at that.
Ooh, that's a first.
Wow.
I haven't seen Poland before.
That's cool. Welcome. Glad to have you with us. Minneapolis, Calgary, North Ogden, Utah. I've heard that place. That place is beautiful. Connecticut. More people from California. The Woodlands, Texas. Look at this nationwide coverage here. I love it. So glad to have you guys joining. Let's see what's happening in the poll. In the poll, we have 40% with type 2, 27% with prediabetes. We got a good percentage saying they don't have diabetes, almost 20%, and another about 20% saying they have a loved one with diabetes.
Yes.
So we have 0 type 1s and 0 type 1.5, and that's always fascinating.
Which is actually interesting because on our kickoff webinar, which was about
Yeah.
we had 0% people with type 1 diabetes, which is actually that was the first time that we had a webinar with 0 people with type 1 diabetes.
So,
Robbie has type 1 diabetes. I have type 1 diabetes. So generally, people with type 1 diabetes come to our webinars. But the fact that it's still 0% is it's incredible. I love it.
it's fascinating. Well, we got good news for you because we've helped a lot of people living with pre-diabetes and type 2 diabetes. We're going to share a lot of that tonight
Absolutely.
and how you can get some of the same results. So we're going to do that. Let's go back to the chat box, see where people are coming from. We have some Pennsylvania, Michigan, Virginia. All right, Massachusetts, there we go. Phoenix, Buffalo, Palm Springs. Look at that. You guys are all over the place. This is terrific.
It's cool.
So glad to have you guys taking time to join us. Should we get started?
Why not?
Let's do it.
Let's do
Okay,
it.
so we're going to share our screen here.
So as you guys, obviously, as you guys know, the purpose of tonight's webinar is to sort of go through the summit that just happened, the Mastering Diabetes Online Summit, and really sort of recap a lot of the conversations that you may have seen. And also, if you have missed some of those, it's okay. We can kind of go through and understand, what information was relayed. And then on top of that, we want to hear from John because John's got an incredible story, and I want to obviously give him the opportunity to share it with everyone. So let's get right into it. John, can you see our screen right now?
Yes, I can.
Excellent.
Fantastic. All right, so just a quick introduction. We got John. Give yourself a quick introduction for those people who may not be totally familiar with you.
Yeah, John McMahon here from I Thrive docuseries, a 9-part docuseries on rising from the depths of diabetes and obesity. And Cyrus and Robbie here, good friends, and these guys are all over mastering diabetes. And I used all of the principles outlined in this summit to really turn my life completely around. I mean, we're talking complete rebirth in 6 months.
Absolutely. This is, yeah. So my name is Cyrus Kambata. I have a PhD in nutritional biochemistry. I've been living with type 1 diabetes now for 15 years. I've been a plant-based eater for 14 of those 15 years. And in the process of becoming a plant-based eater, I've completely transformed my life, dropped my A1C to a non-diabetic range. I'm able to be as active as I possibly can be. And my life, it would be very, very different if I were still eating the same meat-centric and or dairy-centric diet that I had been eating for my entire life leading up to that.
Yeah, my name is Robbie Barbero. I'm the co-founder here of Mastering Diabetes with Cyrus. And like Cyrus said earlier, I'm also living with type 1 diabetes. Been living with type 1 for over 18 years and following a low-fat, plant-based whole food diet now for over 11 years and gotten full control of my diabetes health. More importantly, my overall health, having incredible energy, really just a high quality life, and wanting to share this message with as many people as possible. So we have so many great testimonials to share with you tonight. But before we get to that, what we want to do is we want to just do a quick summary of each of the presentations. Just sort of pull out the takeaway message, some of the key things that we remember, and then we'll review each person, and we'll have some time for Q&A at the end as well. All right?
So let's start at the top here. On day one, we heard from Dr. Neal Barnard, Dr. David Katz, Dr. Garth Davis, myself, as well as Dr. Michelle McMacken. And the whole purpose of day one is to really give you guys an understanding of what is the problem, what actually causes type 2 diabetes, what actually causes prediabetes. Because if you have been perusing around on the internet for any length of time, you've probably seen the confusion and the conflicting information that comes from different sources. And so what we did is we've assembled sort of the all-star team that can talk about insulin resistance and really give you an idea as to what the problem is and where it starts. So Dr. Neal Barnard started by talking about cheese and low carbohydrate diets and how they can actually set the stage for chronic disease. And Dr. Neal Barnard is, in case you've never heard of him, he's a New York Times bestselling author. He's written many, many, many books. He's absolutely brilliant. He works out of Washington, D.C. And he recently released a new book called The Cheese Trap, in which he goes into extensive detail about what the problem with cheese really is. But in a nutshell, he talks about how insulin resistance is truly the cause of type 2 diabetes, and that diets that are high in protein and high in fat tend to prevent insulin from doing its job.
So then, and John, do you want to add anything about Dr. Neal Barnard?
Yeah, let me tell you something what Dr. Neal Barnard said, and you probably have heard this beaten to death so many times, but I just want to emphasize how serious it is, this diabetes epidemic that's come across the whole planet right now. I had him talk to a doctor from Oxford who had compared it to the Black Death of the 14th century. And this is what Neal Barnard had to say. He said, well, if you add up the bodies, the diabetes epidemic is going to be far worse than the Black Plague of the Middle Ages. So we got to take this very, very seriously, and mastering diabetes is the right solution. And insulin resistance, the way Neal Barnard talked about it, is the key to understanding it, not just monitoring your blood sugar.
Absolutely.
Terrific. Excellent. So in this next interview here that you guys hopefully had a chance to listen to, this was David Katz. This is one of our best interviews. So glad we had him on day one. And he was really addressing the confusion around sugar, and is one of the best people to address this concern with his research experience and having the whole True Food organization, really bringing things together so all the experts can see what things do we all agree on. And he highlighted that it comes down to plants. That simple. That was one of the big hats.
Absolutely, and it's really kind of confusing because if you go on the internet and try and find out what causes diabetes, what is the reason that type 2 diabetes exists, a lot of people will tell you that it's sugar, it's sugar, it's sugar. Now, nobody's going to advocate that you should go eat sugar. Dr. Neil Barnard's not going to say that. We're not going to say that. Dr. David Katz is going to say that. Dr. Dr. Garth Davis is not going to say that. John McMahon is not going to say that himself. Point being is that sugar gets confused with carbohydrate. And so a lot of people fear eating carbohydrates, fruits, potatoes, pastas, breads, because they think that food turns into sugar, when in reality it doesn't. So Dr. David Katz goes through in extensive detail about the difference between real food and sugar and teaches you that actually whole carbohydrates from whole foods solve the problem as opposed to causing it in the first place.
Absolutely. Okay. Garth Davis talking about protein. This is such a confusing topic. So much misinformation about how much protein you need, how much protein comes from plants. He made this very, very simple to understand in his presentation. He wrote an excellent book called Proteinaholic. If you're a research junkie and you want to really read the science and understand, that book is so well cited, full of lots of resources. Make sure to check that out. And then, of course, we had our very own Cyrus Khambatta.
That guy looks familiar.
He looks kind of handsome.
Well, thank you.
So this, I remember doing this interview. It was a lot of fun. And this is where Cyrus brought it all together. And this is one of the sort of the specialties we have here is understanding all forms of diabetes and bringing that together. So that's one of the things that we happen in that presentation. And you got to understand it comes down to insulin resistance. That's a big thing that Barnard addressed. Cyrus really made this scientific aspect of that really easy to understand. So if you haven't already purchased the All Access Pass, you can re-watch these things. It's something you might want to consider. But that interview was really powerful.
Thank you. Yeah, insulin resistance is it is present in all forms of diabetes, regardless of the type. Pre-diabetes, type 2 diabetes, type 1, type 1.5, gestational, you name it. If you're living with any kind of blood glucose control problem, then you are living with insulin resistance. Period. End of story. And then last but not least, on day one, we had Dr. Michelle McMacken. And she talks about the true dietary causes of insulin resistance in type 2 diabetes. Again, she does a similar thing to Dr. David Katz, where she kind of hammers home the idea that, number one, sugar doesn't actually cause diabetes, believe it or not. And number two, fruit, especially fruit, does not cause diabetes. It's not going to exacerbate diabetes. And when she hears people say, oh, yeah, fruit equals sugar, it really gets her frustrated. So she talks all about that and really gives you some insight here into the fact that excess consumption of dietary fat is actually the root cause of all forms of diabetes. All right, phase two. In this phase, we want to talk about how can you reverse insulin resistance. Okay, what is the way to actually do it? Is there any evidence about how you can actually get rid of diabetes altogether?
Okay, we started this section off with Michael Greger. This guy is hilarious. So this is the founder of nutritionfacts.org, if you have not checked that out. And he talked about the dangers of eggs and milk. And eggs is another very controversial topic. You have a lot of people thinking eggs are actually very beneficial. And he breaks it down very clear into why that is not the case. You do not want to consume eggs. So again, hopefully you guys saw over and over and over again from these different experts from different backgrounds, different research experience, they came to a consistent conclusion on this. John, do you want to add anything about Michael Greger?
Michael Greger is awesome. He basically was highlighting what I really liked when he was highlighting the standard care for treating type 2 diabetes and just saying basically, no, of course, you haven't cured anything. You've just treated the symptoms of the disease. And that's where we go wrong, totally wrong.
Absolutely. So in the chat box, let me ask you this. If you've ever heard that eggs are not only good for you, but they'll actually help your diabetes health or benefit you living with diabetes, and it's actually a recommended food to eat, write the word yes. So again, if you've heard that eggs are good for you and that it's smart to eat them, especially since you're living with diabetes, write the word yes. I want to see in the chat box what you guys have heard, because this information is all over the place. Moving on, Dean Ornish. Dean Ornish is he's a pioneer in this field of plant-based nutrition, and this man is like a walking encyclopedia. So he talks about, you know, what's the point of reducing your animal food intake, and when you know, what does the evidence actually say about it? So he's written hundreds of peer-reviewed scientific studies, and he's written, I believe, I want to say 17 books, of which many of them are New York Times bestsellers. You know, when we interviewed him, I had to listen to the interview like 4 times because he's got so much information, but well worth a listen.
He truly is a true legend. We were honored to have Dean Ornish in here. Do you want to say anything about Dean, John?
Well, yeah, you know, Dean was highlighting the Accord studies when he was talking about when they studied us trying to control diabetes with more aggressive use of medicine. And you know, basically what he wanted to emphasize was that the Accord studies actually found that the standard treatment of care increased premature death and increased the complications of diabetes. So, you know, the reason why we've got to master diabetes and take health into our own hands, Dean was saying it's our responsibility. If you don't master diabetes, you think you're taking medicine and it's going to prevent or slow down any of the complications, it isn't. You're headed for the same train wreck at the end of the road. That's what Dean really was emphasizing. That's what I remember.
Such an important part. I'm glad you brought that up. We just wrapped up a retreat here in Costa Rica. We had Dr. Anthony Lim here as the medical director at that retreat, and he's the medical director for Dr. McDougall's events. And he was saying over and over again to our participants, you know, having these lower A1Cs, lower blood glucose numbers through medication does not make you healthier. So I'm glad you brought that up.
So going back to the question that I asked about whether you have heard that eggs are good for you, especially living with diabetes. We got Deb, James, Roberta, Donna, Linda, Susie, Cindy, Helen, Linda, Susie, Joyce, Melanie. Everyone's saying yes, 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 yes. Cynthia says no, but for the most part, it's just yes, 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 yes. So welcome to the confusion. You know, I don't blame you guys for, you know, wanting to seek out your, you know, best foods to eat for to maximize your diabetes health. And there's just no question about the fact that eggs are not the right way to go.
Next up, we have Joel Kahn. So this was one of our most hilarious interviews. Joel is just a funny guy, but he's also super well researched. And the way he can cite research and cover it off the top of his head is really amazing. So he talked about saturated fat and really broke down the confusion again. So we went head in right here, like, what's the confusion? Why is there people thinking that saturated fat doesn't matter? And he addressed that, made it super clear.
Absolutely. Next up, we got Roseanne Oliveira. Now, Roseanne Oliveira, she works at UC Davis, and she is a researcher, and she knows a lot about the whether diabetes is actually a genetic condition or not. And the whole, you know, long and short of it with her talk is that a lot of people are sort of brainwashed to believe that if you were diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, that it's just in your genes. It was in your family. It's your parents' fault or your grandparents' fault, and there's nothing you can do about it. And she dispels that myth very, very well, and she does it by citing very important, you know, genes that are or are not responsible for the development of type 2 diabetes, and kind of gets rid of that myth altogether. So, John, tell us, you know, when you were diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, had you heard the same thing, that, you know, it was a result of your genes?
Yeah, I remember interviewing Deborah in our series, and Deborah's mother and all of her brothers and sisters all died of diabetes. Okay, and towards the end of her mother's life, her mother was telling Deborah that you're going to die of diabetes too. And Deborah said no, and she totally busted that myth, and it's an amazing story. But yeah, it's not, you are not genetically destined to get diabetes.
100%.
Powerful. All right, next up we had Matt Letterman talking about creating sustainability on a plant-based diet and understanding calorie density. This was huge. It's so important. Matt went into very good detail about this, and we're actually going to talk a little bit more about it later in today's webinar because calorie density is so important. But on this program, really healthy calorie-dense plant foods. Maybe, John, maybe you could talk about your experience and the type of foods you're eating.
Yeah, calorie density, I keep it, Chef AJ has this thing of keeping it to the left of the red line. So 500 calories per pound, maybe a little bit of avocados. But yeah, I live by calorie density. It's a totally important concept, and it makes it easy to plan your meals and eat this lifestyle.
100%.
Awesome.
All right, next we got a whole bunch of incredible speakers here. Dr. Joel Fuhrman talks about the power of the nutritarian approach, the nutritarian diet for reversing diabetes. He pioneered the nutritarian diet, which is one of the most nutrient-dense diets ever, not even diet, lifestyles ever created. And it turns out that the Mastering Diabetes program and the way that John has been eating is actually very, 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 very similar to exactly what Dr. Joel Fuhrman describes. Next, we got Dr. Robert Osfeld. He's a cardiologist out of the Bronx. He talks about the connection between coronary artery disease and diabetes and how the two of them run together very often. And that just because you've been diagnosed with one, it actually significantly increases your risk for, if you've been diagnosed with coronary artery disease, it increases your risk for diabetes and cancer and hypertension and high cholesterol and Alzheimer's disease and chronic kidney disease at the same time. And diabetes is this sort of central linchpin that as soon as you get diagnosed with diabetes, then your risk for all these other metabolic dysfunctions goes way up. So he's a fascinating talk, and I highly recommend paying attention to that. Next, we had Dr. Hans Deal. He talks about the cause and the cure of type 2 diabetes. And he has this coined phrase where he says, the power is on your plate. And he's absolutely right. He founded this thing called the CHIP program out of Loma Linda University that's gone on to help hundreds of thousands, if not maybe even close to 1 million people at this point. The guy is just an absolute encyclopedia. And he gives you a lot of really good information, a lot of good statistics about how, if you just change the foods that are on your plate and you adopt a more plant-focused way of eating, the power is on your plate, no pun intended. Dr. John McDougall, the creator of the Starch Solution, he talks about very openly about pharmaceutical medication, as John had described earlier. So he's talking about which is more effective, getting on pharmaceutical medication, whether it's insulin or oral medication, or adopting a plant-based diet. And I think you guys probably know the answer, which is that a plant-based diet is way, way, way more effective. But he goes into a lot of detail about how even if you get tight control over your blood glucose using medication, that your outcomes are worse in the long term. And that nutrient-dense diets are the way to actually drop your disease risk altogether. And then last but not least on this day 3 was Ray Cronise. Now, Ray is a very good friend of ours, absolutely brilliant guy, one of the smartest guys I've ever met before. And he talks about how insulin resistance is present both in type 1 and type 2, and the exact method that he uses to coach his clients into dramatic weight loss and how to reverse diabetes altogether.
Yeah, he's an absolute genius, had an amazing story. So we move into phase 3 here. This was where we talked about understanding the whole body impact of low-fat, plant-based whole food nutrition. Amazing speakers here. Brenda Davis, I just saw her at a recent conference in North Carolina, and she is so good at making this information very clear and easy to understand. And she debunked the low-carbohydrate diet, why that is a problem. So it was a really, really good presentation. Then we had Dr. Ron Weiss talking about the microbiome. And this is it's like a new piece of science that we're really starting to just scratch the surface of understanding and why it's important. And he cited a lot of research continuing to show that plant-based diets lead to the best microbiome health possible. Now, Rick Dina, this is another important topic. So the low-fat approach. So we're talking about eating a diet less than 30 grams of total fat here. People are concerned, am I going to get my essential fatty acids? Rick Dina busted that myth, made it very clear. He actually analyzed some of my own blood work to show that you can get everything you need on this program. Walter Longo talked about the fasting mimicking diet. It's really amazing for us to have a conversation with him. He's really a top top researcher. The journals he's been published in is just incredible. And then I had a presentation here where we talked about various diets and making sense of it and how to, for you, basically the bottom line there is for you to pick what works for you and be consistent. That's the key. That's what you got to do.
Yeah, in Robbie's Evolution, going from eating a sort of meat-based diet to a Weston A. Price Foundation diet to a low-carbohydrate plant-based diet, it's really kind of fascinating to listen to all the different iterations that he went through because he learned something very important in all of them. Came across low-fat, plant-based whole food nutrition, has never, ever turned back.
That's exactly right.
Dr. Alan Goldhammer. John, I'm going to turn it over to you because you got to spend time with him in person. So you want to talk about a little bit about him?
Yeah. Dr. Goldhammer is a character. He basically runs a jail for those that can't control themselves and they got to check themselves into a water fast. And that's what I went through. I'm talking about Susan Pierce Thompson. I scored a 10 on her food addiction susceptibility scale. And I tried to do like a short water fast on my own throughout the whole documentary series, photography, filming. I tried to, turn things around. I'd be talking to Dr. Furman and I'd find myself driving through a drive-through. Finally, this is the place of last resort, Dr. Goldhammer. And I'll tell you what, it works. I'm living proof of it. And the guy's amazing. And, the pleasure trap, and there's 3 traps after the pleasure trap. This is stuff that you really want to have down in your encyclopedia and library.
Absolutely.
No question about it. So, yeah, go ahead.
Next we had Dr. Susan Pierce Thompson. She's created what's called Bright Line Eating. She has struggled with food addiction and compulsive eating for a good majority of her life. And she actually developed a program to get at the root cause and understand the psychology of sort of compulsive eating and find a way to create what are called bright lines that prevent you or that give you the tools to be able to truly control your food intake. She runs the most successful weight loss program ever developed, period. More than MetaFast, more than weight loss, more than Jenny Craig, you name it. Susan Pierce Thompson is a gold mine. She's a very good friend of ours. And if you have the opportunity to learn more about her, we highly, highly recommend it. Adam Sudd. Adam Sudd is a coach in the Mastering Diabetes program. He is brilliant. Adam Sudd is literally half the man he used to be. He ate himself into 350 pounds. He was a food addict, he was a drug addict, and he actually attempted suicide. He attempted suicide because he hated the way he looked, he hated the way he felt, and he hated the way that he treated other people. But he failed at committing suicide, and had an epiphany that it was time to actually change himself from the inside out. So he changed the food on his plate, adopted a low-fat, plant-based whole food diet. He went from 350 pounds to 160 pounds. So he lost almost 200 pounds over the course of a year and a half and is just an absolute goldmine of information. So we talked to, he talks about his story and gives you some real good insight into the sort of mental and emotional aspects of overcoming food compulsion. Next up, we had Danielle Hargenrader. She's really a sort of a motivational speaker that teaches you how to unleash your diabetes dominator and how to transform your mental and emotional health. She's got a lot of really, really effective tools for dealing with sort of feeling bad, feeling unmotivated to want to change. If you're interested in learning more about her, highly recommend it. She's got a brilliant, brilliant talk. And last but not least on this slide is Mark Ramirez. He's also a coach in the Mastering Diabetes program. Mark was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. He ended up reversing it altogether in a very short period of time. He now lives diabetes-free. He's lost over 50 pounds. He used to play football at University of Michigan, and now he's in the best shape he's ever been, having adopted a low-fat, plant-based whole food diet.
He was looking ripped in his retreat.
Absolutely.
That's pretty great. Okay, phase 5, communicating about your lifestyle change with friends, family, and medical professionals. This is such an important topic here. Lori Marbus is an incredible physician. We saw her speak at the Plant-Based Nutrition Healthcare Conference. And in this presentation, she talked about key tips for communicating with your doctor. This is information coming from a doctor, and it was really important. So you need your work with a physician when it comes to reducing your medication safely. She teaches you how to do that. We had Dustin Williams talk about how medical doctors think, exactly how they're trained and how they are attacking the problem, and really understanding all the medications that people are being diagnosed. That was a very powerful presentation. So many of, I'm sure that many people on this webinar can resonate with hear you, what are the side effects, and you just don't know. You're just told to take it. So he broke that down. And once you have that information, it's sort of empowering to think, wait a minute, I really, really don't want that. And now that you understand it, it sort of gives you the power to take charge of your diabetes health. Then we had Kylie Buckner, a registered nurse. She was talking about how to ask for support. This is important. So nobody's going to succeed on their own. We all need help, support, and she teaches you how to communicate with everybody in your circle. Steve Lewenda, this is another testimonial in and of himself. So he was a person that was basically developing diabetes himself, had pre-diabetes. He started following a plant-based diet, and now he's teaching it to his patients. He's teaching it at Kaiser to all the people who are interested in getting plant-based education. So that was a very inspiring interview. Susan Levin from Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine, talking about gestational diabetes, pregnancy, and breastfeeding. So this is a topic that really isn't covered enough in the plant-based world. So we were really honored to bring her on the summit so she could address this information. And again, there's so much gold in these presentations. These are the titles of the presentations, and they're pulling out the nuggets, but each person went into even more in-depth on a wide range of topics. So what Susan covered in regards to working with your children, pregnancy, all those details was really powerful. So I hope you guys found that helpful for you.
Okay, last but not least, this is the final set of speakers here. The first one was Juliana Heaver. She talks about this idea here that the Mediterranean diet is a great diet, and it's actually the diet that will help you reverse chronic disease. In fact, no, the Mediterranean diet in its heyday back in the day was a completely different diet than the Mediterranean diet is today. So the Mediterranean diet of today is actually very similar to the standard American diet, and it increases your risk for diabetes, and it increases your risk for metabolic dysfunction. So she talks all about why that's the case. Chef AJ, John, you alluded to Chef AJ before. She's one of the most, she's got so much personality, I don't even know what to do. She talks a lot about calorie density and how you can actually lose weight forever and keep it off for the rest of your life. And she is a master in the kitchen and teaches you all types of really cool, simple tools that you can incorporate to save time and save a lot of heartache. So you want to talk about your experience with Chef AJ?
Yeah, I'll say one thing. Chef AJ eats about 8 pounds of food a day. So yeah, if you're worried about eating food, don't. This is the way that plant-based diet's the way to eat and reverse your diabetes and lose totally all your excess weight.
Absolutely. Then next we got Rip Esselstyn. So Rip is the creator of the Engine 2 diet. He lives in Austin, Texas. He's a very good friend of ours as well. He talks a lot about the masculine side of eating a vegetarian or a vegan or a low-fat plant-based whole food diet. He's a firefighter. He transformed the lives of his entire firefighting crew, and he's brilliant. Really, really, really good guy. Got a lot of information, and it's a fantastic talk. Andrew Taylor lives in Australia. He used to be a national champion. I think it was crew, like he rode. He lost 121 pounds by eating nothing but potatoes for 365 days. Literally did not eat a single other food other than potatoes, 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 potatoes. Why? Because he did a ton of research. He was overweight. He felt terrible. And he figured out that potatoes are actually a very nutrient-dense food and decided that he was going to do an experiment. And that experiment has now turned him world famous. He's a great guy with an incredible story, and it's well worth listening to. And then finally, Eric Adams. He is the Brooklyn Borough president. He reversed type 2 diabetes after getting diagnosed as being obese and having no answers for how to actually reverse his sort of development of chronic disease. So he did some reading himself. He came across a low-fat plant-based whole food diet. He adopted it, and he changed his life for the better. And now because he's a very influential public figure, he's educating millions of people around the New York area how to adopt a plant-based diet. He's getting it into schools. He's getting it into churches. He's doing a phenomenal job, and he's just a funny guy. He's just hilarious.
He's so funny. That interview was great.
It was incredible. So if you, he's got a lot of knowledge. Fantastic.
Hey,
right.
Hey, for you guys out there, you brushed past Rip Esselstyn pretty quickly.
Go back.
But there's some nuggets for you guys that are listening out there, and even ladies too. The masculine side, what he's talking about there, is one of the benefits of being on a plant-based diet. And you'll find something very, very nice happening in the bedroom when you switch off the saturated fats and you reverse your diabetes with a plant-based diet. And I know he went into it when I interviewed him, but there is nothing masculine about eating meat. And there's a mentality as well that we, guys, we got to eat meat, got to have protein. It's primal. We're connecting with our Cro-Magnon, roots of hunting and killing and gathering and all of that. And it's a really good insight into coming to the world from a side of compassion, as opposed to this side of, aggressive and killing to eat and moving away from animal products. He's really a brilliant guy, and he's an amazing athlete. I know that he could kick my butt any day of the week. But what did he win? The Ironman in Hawaii, right?
Yeah, he's a professional triathlete, and he was great. He was top ranked.
Yeah, and he's in his 50s now.
Yeah, he's still a beast. Okay, so in the chat box, here's what I want you guys to complete. Complete this sentence. Insulin resistance is caused by blank. What is it? Insulin resistance is caused by, I'll give you a hint. I said it in my lecture, and there were other speakers that also reinforced this concept. Any ideas?
Can't wait to hear what people type in here. This is a very important quiz.
All right, here we go. I see Adriana says fat. Susan says fat. Animal fat from Donna. Intramyocellular lipid from John McMahon. Looks like he's been paying attention. Fat in the cells, meat, fat in the muscles and liver, excess fat consumption. You guys are doing well. Fat stored in tissues not designed to store fat. Ding. Deb and Debbie, fat in cells that should not have fat in them. That is the right answer. Good work, guys. Good work. Okay, the answer is this. Insulin resistance is caused by the storage of fat in tissues that are not designed to store fat. When you eat a diet that's high in animal protein, that's high in animal products, that's high in saturated fat, you end up accumulating excess fat in tissues that are not designed to store fat, like your muscle and liver. It causes a global systemic dysfunction that we refer to as diabetes. So one thing that we want to talk to you guys about is our coaching program.
Yeah.
We have actually a really fun surprise that we want to talk to you guys about. And we're super glad that you're here on this webinar right now with us.
Okay, so in the chat box, let us know. Do you want to learn? Would you like to learn how you can reverse insulin resistance with the program? So in the chat box, I want to make sure you're still with us. We went through a lot of information tonight. You guys passed the quiz, so I know you're mentally still here. But let us know in the chat box. Do you want to hear about this special gift that we have for you? It's even more special than that pretty image you saw on the screen.
Oh yeah, we made it extra special tonight. It's extra sweet. Jeannie says yes. Adriana says yes. Cynthia says fat in our cells that are not designed to store fat. She's still answering.
That's great.
Roberta, yes. Debbie, Karen, Pamela, Angela, yeah, great. Tony, yes. Okay,
all right,
go for it.
Let's do it. Let's show them how you can get the same results that John got. So we're going to share with you about our coaching program, which is the world's first online coaching program designed to teach you how to maximize your insulin sensitivity using low-fat, plant-based, whole food nutrition. So we're going to go through and explain what this food looks like, what you actually get to eat to get the results that you saw John get and what other people have gotten in changing their lifestyle. Look at the foods on the screen. It's really colorful, it's really vibrant, and you do not have to control portions because of the principles of calorie density. I really hope you guys saw that. in the lesson with Chef AJ. So we're going to go through what foods can you eat. So in the green light category, these truly are foods that you can eat in unlimited quantities because the calorie density is to the left of the red line, all right? It's 500 calories or less, 600 calories or less, you're in good shape. So this is fruits. We're talking all the fruits you can think of: bananas, pears, apples, mangoes, papaya. Eat as much of that as you want and reverse insulin resistance. Non-starchy vegetables, these are great. Cauliflower, egg, vegetables, yes. Truly, as much of these starchy vegetables as butternut squash, potatoes. You saw the Andrew Taylor SpudFit interview where he ate nothing but potatoes for an entire year and lost 121 pounds. So that's a food, and he talked about in his interview, he did not limit how much of that food he was eating. Beans, lentils, and peas, these are foods the longest lived societies on the planet have eaten for centuries, okay? Unlimited. Green leafy vegetables, all the lettuce you want, all the arugula you want. I love arugula, that's my favorite. Intact whole grains. So I know Chef AJ talked about that a little bit. Intact is the key word. These are on our program. Quinoa, brown rice, all kinds of that stuff. Herbs and spices, okay? Cyrus loves herbs and spices. He's the master of spicing up the meals.
Yep.
Full of antioxidants, adding flavor. Eat those as much as you want. Here's where the important information is that sometimes can be controversial. The yellow light foods, okay? These are foods you want to be careful with. You can't sit down and go watch a movie and have a big Tupperware of nuts and just start eating all the nuts you want. That's going to be too much fat. That's going to cause insulin resistance like Cyrus just talked about. And even if it's plant fat, still is a problem. So nuts, seeds, avocados, coconuts, olives, those are still whole plant foods. They're good, they're okay, have them, but be careful about the quantity you're having. That's why they're in the yellow light. Okay, pastas. These are foods that are a little bit more calorie dense. They're processed. So you can have brown rice pasta. You can find that at the grocery store, and that's good. It's still going to help you in your journey, but it's not the same as having an intact whole grain, which would be just eating the brown rice. It's the same thing with breads. So things like Ezekiel bread, they're good. They're a lot better than a lot of the other garbage breads out there, but they're way, way more calorie dense and going to halt the weight loss process and also halt the reversal of insulin resistance. So you got to be careful with those. Now this is the red light category. We talked about eggs earlier, dairy products, red and white meat, fish, shellfish, basically animal products. We put those in the red light category. Stay away from those. Focus on eating the green and yellow light foods. Oils of any kind, those are out. So olive oil, coconut oil, the most calorie dense foods on the planet, and they have their nutrients taken out, the fiber taken out, carbohydrates taken out, protein taken out. It's just pure fat. It's very processed. Refined sugars, we all know those are bad. Pastries and breads, those are out. So those are our simple guidelines. We teach you how to do this in a very easy way in our program. Look at what these meals look like. Okay, you got this amazing bean dish up here, fruit salad. You can make burgers out of healthy ingredients, soups. It's amazing. Now we have fruit, okay? We're super fruit friendly here at Mastering Diabetes, okay? So what we got here is we got mangoes, papaya, lettuce, amazing, amazing stuff here, okay? So how do we teach you how to eat these foods? So it's very simple. I just told you what to eat right here. I mean, it's really that simple. But how are you going to implement this in your life? That's why we created a coaching program, and it has 3 powerful tools, okay? So we're going to go into each one of these in detail. We have an online course, we have a private Facebook group, and we do live Q&A calls. Let's get into this. The online course is designed to make this process easy. So we take the overwhelm out. We put this in a very step-by-step, easy-to-understand online course. You get in there, you start setting your goals. That becomes very clear. You put the goals around so you see them. You change one meal at a time. We are in this for the long haul, okay? So you see here we have Module 1, changing breakfast and also getting more of the science for understanding the causes of insulin resistance, guidelines for blood glucose management, how to log your food. We take you through it step by step so it's not overwhelming. That's the whole point of this course, is to guide you through the process. After working with thousands of people living with diabetes, we want to make sure that you get to do this in the easiest, quickest way possible. Okay? So step 2 here on core module 2, we talk about understanding weight loss. We talk about understanding whole foods, the principles of calorie density, and then we start filling out decision trees, which is a really transforming process, and we walk you through how to do that. Then we start changing lunch. All right, then again, it's no rush. These are divided into different modules. You take your time, you do it one step at a time, and once you're confident with your lunch, okay, I've got my breakfast, I got my lunch, then you move into core module 3, and now we're going to start cleaning out the pantry, we're going to start changing dinner, and we're going to overhaul the whole program, all right? Intermittent fasting is a very important aspect, something you can incorporate to reach your ideal weight and reverse insulin resistance. We talk about that. For anybody using insulin, we teach you how to modify your basal in a healthy, objective way and work with your physician. Okay, and then we get into movement. Movement is really important. It's something that is overlooked and not talked about enough, and it's something that's really important in the Mastering Diabetes program. And when you're a part of a group of people and us coaches who are leading by example and showing you how you can incorporate it into your life in an easy way that's not overwhelming, it's really transforming. All right, then we go into some of the more nuanced stuff, how to buy bulk, how to shop at Asian markets, how to shop at the wholesale markets, Costco, BJ's, Sam's Club, all those places. How do you save money by shopping there? Helping you guys meal plan. We do that with you in our program. Social situations, super important to be able to navigate those. A lot of people, it's a big struggle for them. They do fine at home. They get derailed when they're going on in a business meeting, when they're traveling. We teach you how to handle that, and then we communicate through our Facebook group, which we're going to talk about shortly. So here it is. This is where we get to be in touch with you on a day-by-day basis. Like literally, we want to be with you as if it's your private coach and you're texting us. That's kind of how we've set this up. So we have a private Facebook group where our coaches are answering questions within 24 hours. We're there with you every step of the way, every day, no days off, no exception, 365 days a year. We're there to be part of your transformation. So these are the type of things people are posting in there, and it's really fun to see the community support in there. And it's great. So here's some examples of the type of posts you'll see. People sharing their meals, people sharing their nutrition logging data. Here we see a great fruit bowl with a great blood glucose. It's really inspiring. And when you see success like this, somebody saying, look, I just climbed a pyramid when I couldn't in the past, it's really exciting. And a really important aspect of this is that this is a safe place, okay? We know that lifestyle change is not rainbows and unicorns. It's not just the smoothest thing ever. You're going to have questions. You're going to have hurdles. We try and make it to those as least as possible through our online course, but it's going to happen. And we are here for you. The community's there for you. It's great to see anytime somebody posts something vulnerable, how those are the posts that get the most interaction. That's when people come out of the woodwork and really are there and share their experience and their support and their empathy. And it's great. So it's great to be a part of that on a day-by-day basis through this community. Now look at this. John, do you want to share a little bit about your story here? I don't know if John might be muted here. So I will go ahead and share this. Look at this.
Wait.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, I was muted there. Yeah, I'm wearing that same shirt. I've lost weight even since that picture.
Amazing.
Yeah. So now 88 pounds. I've lost some more weight since you made that slide. Yeah. Triglycerides, you see the muscle mass, body fat. The body fat's now down even a lot more than that. I got to send you some new pictures of my workout this morning with my trainer, my leg workout. But yeah, using the same principles that are the exact same principles, these same people, the same program. This is how I accomplished this in less than 6 months.
It's really inspiring. I mean, that is such a rapid turnaround when you got focused and honed in on it. It's really powerful.
Yeah, but hey, I want to make sure that you guys know that I wasn't perfect. You know, I had slip-ups. I had a short binge for like 4 days. I just totally lost it. And the essential part was the community to bring you back on track, the community, a safe community. in order to have a place where you could share that and feel like you're not the only one. You're not broken. You're not out of control. That you're okay. You know, this is the journey that everybody goes on. And it was that community that helps pull you along. You know, a couple steps forward, you slip a little bit, and then you just get better and better and better, and then you hit a tipping point. When you hit that tipping point, you get that vibrance of coming alive with the energy flowing through your body, and you just feel amazing. And then that helps energize you making the right decisions and beating the food addiction cravings. And I guarantee you the cravings will go away.
Huge point there. I'm so glad you brought that up, because this is not about perfection. Nobody's perfect. And having a place to reach out when, you know, you struggle and you fall off, and getting back on quickly, which, you know, you obviously did, John, that's a big deal. So super inspiring. Okay, so I'm going to share another few stories here. Tammy is another person here who completely reversed her diabetes. Look at that A1C, 7.1% to 5.3%. She does not have to worry about taking diabetes medications right now. Her metformin went from 2,000 milligrams per day to 0. Her cholesterol improved, and she's just really happy. Her quality of life has gone through the roof. I remember in her video, we have a testimonial video with her talking about how her knees, how she was in so much pain before, and now she's not. So it's powerful. Joaquin just published his testimonial. He lost over 35 pounds in just 60 days. And you can see his carbohydrate intake here. Went from 75 a day to 350, and he lost weight. So you see this over and over and over again with the scientific literature, with these examples, that people eating more of the healthy carbohydrates, the stuff that are coming from the green light foods you saw, the fruits, the beans, the intact whole grains, you can increase your carbohydrate intake and lose weight. I saw that question being asked so many times in the text messages that you guys sent us before the webinar. We read through all the questions that come in, people being really concerned about not being able to lose weight and carbohydrate consumption. And the thing you see in common with these people and this next person down here, the thing you see in common is that they were having a low-fat diet, okay? And that's what we teach you how to do in our program. So Don, this guy was told he was going to need bypass surgery, okay? And he decided to not do the bypass surgery and ended up reversing his heart disease by following our diet and getting off diabetes medications. He was on a bunch of insulin. He's reduced his A1C from 8.4% to 6.1. Fasting blood glucose is better on less medication. He is really, really doing amazing. He's going to continue to get that A1C down to the completely non-diabetic range. All right, so here we have another amazing testimonial here from our Facebook group. This person has gotten to an A1C of 5.6. Their mind is blown. They're super happy. This is what we want for you guys, okay? And that's why we designed this coaching program, and that's why we're going to give you a special offer tonight to make it affordable and get you in with us, okay? So the third tool we have is a monthly live, do a twice monthly live Q&A call. So this is where me or Cyrus, we're on these calls. You see us every month, and we get to talk face-to-face. We use Zoom, so you can see us, and if you turn your camera on, we can see you, and we have a conversation back and forth. So, of course, any immediate questions you ever have should be answered in the Facebook group. And I will also give you guys on this webinar, you get part of our surprise here is that you actually get a ability now to ask questions outside of Facebook. So if you are not a Facebook user and you want to ask our team questions, you can now do that through our online course. That's a new feature we're adding. You guys are the first to be told about this. So that's awesome. We're really, really excited about that because we know a lot of people don't want to use Facebook, and that's okay. You're going to be able to ask us questions. We're going to answer them inside the online course. We also do this on our live Q&A call. We could talk about anything, everything. Nothing is off limits. Again, it's another place to be honest and share what's going on so we can help you. So you have this example of what the video call looks like. You have, people's faces blurred out for privacy here. But that's how it works. So we all have these little boxes and we see each other. You can make us full screen, and it's really fun. So what does it cost to be part of this program? All right, we're going to break this down. What's the value that we're talking about? Look at that. It's an online course. We have put years and years of work into that. and our experience with so many clients to hone it into what is the important stuff. How can we put this laid out in a way it's not overwhelming, it's easy to understand, step by step. Okay, that's valued at $1,200. The private group, so our private Facebook group, and now our private forum inside of Teachables. For those who don't want to use Facebook and want to ask our coaches questions, we have that. That's valued at $1,000. So people want recipes. People, we all want meal planning tips, and that's what we give you. So we have weekly content. We're adding more and more recipes. We're super excited about that. It's libraries building. That's valued at $1,500. The monthly Q&A conferences with me and Cyrus and our other coaches, valued at $1,200. You put that all together, it's $4,900, and you will be shocked at how inexpensive it really is going to be. But before we get to the actual price joining our coaching program, we have a special offer, again, just for you guys on this webinar. We do small group coaching, okay, as well. That's another offer. It costs $250 per month for the small group coaching, but we're going to give that to you for free for joining our coaching program tonight. So you're going to get to be on 4 weekly calls. This is a small group call where there's roughly, usually 10 to 15 people per call, and you really get that private individual attention with our coaches, okay? So the small group coaching includes everything that the program we just went through has, but you get these weekly small group calls. You get that for free, okay? $250 value. So you add it all up, it's over $5,000 what we're talking about today, and it's actually only going to cost you $249, okay? So if you join us, then you pay $249, you join for the full year, okay? So you can look at the offer we just loaded into the chat box here, and that's where you can click. It's a special link. You'll see that, and this is where you get the offer to join us for the small group coaching for 4 weeks. It's a whole month, okay? Weekly video calls with our coaches. It's really priceless. And again, commit to yourself. So, you saw John talk about how he went through this journey. And when you commit to a whole year, you're really committing to your long-term success. You don't have to worry about the monthly payments. You're saving 30% off our monthly price. You really don't want to miss out on this. So click that link in the chat box, and you'll be taken to a page where you can go ahead and register. All right? So now, what I want to do is I want to go ahead and move to the Q&A portion of this program, okay? So let's see here. John, you still with us?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay, good. So we're going to answer questions. So somebody says, if you are hungry, can you eat a snack like an apple? And if so, do you cover it with insulin? So Nancy. So John, if you're hungry, do you eat a snack?
If I'm hungry, I'll eat an apple, but I'll tell you what, if you do this, you're not hungry. That's the whole point.
Brilliant. See, explain to people why you're not hungry, John.
Because what happens is you discover the difference between being full and being satiated. And I discovered that word for the first time in actually filling my body with nutrients. You become satiated. It's like getting out of the prison of craving food.
That's absolutely right. Okay, so I'm going to see if I can get back on. Hopefully you guys can see me now. And I want to get into the Q&A here. So we have somebody asking, saying, fruit shoots my blood sugar reading over 250. Yet they say it's okay to eat fruit. Okay, it's a great question. So this is Michael asking this question. Michael, I want to help you out. John and I, we want to change your life tonight, okay? So here's the simple way to solve this problem. Use nutrition software. And again, we can help you out through our coaching program. But use nutrition software and figure out exactly how much fat you're eating, okay? That's the key. Are you eating too much fat? So the mistake people make is that they blame the fruit. And I get it. I completely understand the confusion. Somebody sits down, you eat a banana, an apple, your blood sugar shoots up. It's like, how can you tell me it wasn't the banana and the apple? My blood glucose was fine before, I ate it, and now I'm high. It's got to be the fruit. No. It's insulin resistance that is most likely your problem. Okay, so that's number one. Test your fat intake. Number two is it is possible that you could be a person that has been living with type 2 diabetes for a long time and your pancreas is exhausted. That is a possibility. And the way to figure that out is you go get a C-peptide test. A C-peptide test is going to tell you how well your pancreas is functioning. If we find out that your C-peptide is low and you are not producing enough of your own insulin, then you got to talk to your doctor and you got to have a strategy for using insulin would be smart there. So in that case, this doesn't happen very often, but it does happen. In that case, the reason your blood glucose, if you're already following a low-fat diet, you're already exercising, you've reached your ideal weight, and you're still having that problem, then it's time to figure out how's your insulin production, okay? So I hope that's helpful. John, anything you want to add to that?
No, dead on. You nailed it.
Okay, perfect. So somebody says, when you're on a plant-based diet, can you eat as much as you want? Okay. You can eat as much as you want of the green light foods. Okay, so it really comes down to the calorie density. John, do you want to talk a little bit about what it means to eat to the left of the red line?
Yeah. Yeah, it means being satiated. Eat all that stuff in the green light. I basically just make a plate, and I take some cues from Dr. Furman's Nutritarian diet, the G bombs, and I just have this vision in my head of at least I build my plate around the greens, and then the legumes, and then fruit, and the nuts and green. It's just really simple. That's as easy as it gets. I don't weigh or measure anything, and voila, here it goes. Low fat, plant-based food diet.
It's so freeing to know that you don't have to measure and that you get to trust your own body's innate design of telling you when you're satisfied.
Absolutely.
It's beautiful.
And it does. It will. And your tastes and cravings will totally change.
Okay, so I'm going to roll through some of these questions that I'm seeing. I'll just go to the top of the chat box and scroll down. So, fat adds a lot of flavor. Can you talk more about how you cook and make meals without oils? So, John, how do you make your meals satisfying without oils?
Well, you totally readjust. I mean, I do sauteing. I do work in the wok with just water steaming. I actually went to the Thai restaurant and I got to know the chef there. And when I go there and get stir fry now, they clean out the wok and they stir fry there just with the water, no oil. It's absolutely delicious. I mean, your palate comes alive. We're not sacrificing anything. It's just an adjustment period.
You're exactly right. And when you stop eating these engineered foods by food corporations they've spent billions of dollars to truly mess with your brain. They use fMRI studies to figure out how these certain chemicals, certain combinations can light up your brain, make you addicted. When you start getting away from those foods, the natural stuff, like John just said, it comes alive. Your taste buds come back, and that mango has a new sense of flavor when you're not eating the garbage. Okay?
Yeah, you're driven by more how you feel, as much as how you feel, as just pure flavor and that little dopamine hit of whatever you thought you used to be missing.
Yeah. Somebody's asking, does blood type matter? You want to talk about that, John?
Blood type? Oh, I'm not a doctor. I couldn't tell you if blood type matter, but as far as I know.
I'm not a doctor either, but I can report from a lot of research that we have read from other doctors. Blood type does not matter here, guys. I mean, and again, I love when people ask these questions, and it's great, it's nuanced, it's detailed. What I always say is, give it a shot. Come join our program and prove to yourself that low-fat, plant-based, whole food diet isn't going to get you amazing results because you have a certain blood type.
Oh, Janine, ask your doctor to show you the studies. No, don't ask us. Ask the doctors to show you the studies that said that you need red meat in order to make red blood cells. And then share it with us.
Please do. Please do. Okay, this is good. Let's see if I have any other questions on my Q&A document. Okay, let's keep going through this chat box. Okay. Somebody's saying, what's your opinion on sparkling water carbonated beverages? So I can share my opinion, and we'll let John share his opinion here. So the answer is, this is such a nuanced, it doesn't matter. If you want to drink carbonated water, don't get lost in the details. Again, I don't know this person, and I'm not saying this is necessarily applies to you or not, but there'll be so many people asking, can I have carbonated water? Can I have non-organic this, non-organic that? All at the same time while they're still eating at a fast food restaurant, or they're still eating plastic garbage. Let's look at the big picture here. It's not about the little things here and there. It's not about this. It's about what are you predominantly doing and is the garbage out of your program?
Yeah, that's a detail.
Yeah, absolutely. So if that's it, and also, I heard somebody had a comment in here being like, what if you want a little, what if I really want a little bit of meat? Okay, look, we're not the food police here at Mastering Diabetes. We are here to teach you about the science, about the information, and the consequences of your decisions. You get to decide what you want to do. And each person, you just have to look yourself in the mirror, know thyself, and to say, what am I capable of? What works for me? And if you decide that for you, you have to have a little bit of wine or meat once a week or this or that, if that's your choice, in order to be able to stick to the program overall long-term the other 6 days of the week, then go ahead. We want you to reach your goals. We want long-term success. We're not about perfectionism here. That's not what this program is about. This program is about you coming in week one, establishing your goals, and us as coaches, we're going to keep you accountable every step of the way until your goals become a reality.
Absolutely, that's the best approach, and that's why I like you guys as far as coaching goes, not to hold people to an impossible standard. And I don't either.
Exactly.
The more the better. The more the better. The better you feel, the more you will. So just get that plate. Just start introducing the good foods, and the other foods will get displaced.
That's exactly right. I love that. I mean, focusing on the positive, focusing on the foods you can eat. Don't focus on the foods you're not supposed to eat. Just adding more and more, and that's sort of our philosophy with changing it one meal at a time. So you're coming in the program. All you're doing is you're gonna join our coach program. You're just gonna change your breakfast. So you're gonna try new foods, new meals for breakfast. You don't have to stress and worry about lunch and dinner in the beginning. This is a transition process, one day at a time, being gentle with yourself and understanding that lifestyle change is a process. It doesn't happen overnight. That's the reality.
Hit that olive oil question, Robbie.
Okay, let's see. What do we got here? Go ahead and ask it.
Yeah, if eating whole food and plant-based is adding a very small amount of olive oil a useful strategy, from Deb Pond.
Is adding a little bit of olive oil a useful strategy? That's basically what they're asking.
Yeah. One teaspoon.
Okay. So what I would encourage that person to do, again, our coaching program is very personalized. And I mean it. Like when you ask a question in our Facebook group, our coaches are going to remember who you are. Our community is going to remember who you are. You're going to make friends. And we're going to know, you're going to type like, am I living with type 2 diabetes, type 1 diabetes? And we're going to know that. And it's going to be based on your goals. It's your goals. So if you really, really, for whatever reason, we're going to teach you why oil is not good, okay? We're going to make that very clear in the online course, all the details and all the science, okay? But if you decide I have to have a little bit, I just have to, okay? As you work through our program, we're going to see how's that impacting your results. Has it halted your weight loss? Are you trying to lose weight? Are you not losing a half a pound to a pound a week? Okay, then maybe it's time to like, hey, try listening to the coaches and try no olive oil, okay? We're going to see, are you trying to get off certain medications? And this oil, a small amount can go a long ways. Let's put it that way. But again, we're going to measure this through objective results. What's your fasting blood glucose? What's your blood glucose after meals? We're going to figure that out through decision trees. And you're going to see objectively what's going on. So that's my guidance there. John, anything you want to add about oil, please do.
No, but go back to that other question about, can I have a little bit of meat? The answer to the oil question would be very, very similar.
Yeah, exactly. So we're saying if I sign up today, do I have to start tomorrow? So no. If you sign up today, you're going to be with us. You're going to be joining for a year. You'll be joining a year membership, and you can start when the time is right for you. But you want to sign up today so you can get those 4 weeks of small group coaching, and you get to start those whenever you choose. If you want to save those 4 groups of small group coaching for later in the year, that's fine. We're going to have it tagged on your account that you get that bonus, and you can take advantage of that bonus whenever you want. But you got to sign up now to take advantage of the bonus that we're offering, okay? All right, let's see. What else do we got here? I haven't tested my blood. I haven't even read this question yet, so I'm reading in real time. I haven't tested my glucose, but no, I had type 2 officially for about a year. Since then, I have cut out all grains, meat, and only eat the plants. I have no idea if I still have resistance, but have lost a lot of weight, about 4 to 5 clothing sizes. That's great. And actually didn't feel well for several months. I am now feeling better. What information and tests should I ask a doctor for? Okay. So I'm glad to hear you're feeling better now. We'd have to know a little more information. Honestly, I would suggest joining the program. Let's try and optimize your diet and share with us how you're feeling on a day-to-day basis. And let's see if we can solve it through really getting in touch with all your lifestyle habits. So our coaching program, yeah, we focus on the recipes, we focus on the food. But as you're communicating with us and telling us what you're doing, we're going to, in relationship or work and stuff like that. And let's try and figure out what we can find. But, a vitamin D test could be a simple one. Stuff like that. But again, we're going to want to know some more details about your lifestyles.
Yeah, and Christine, you want to make sure a coaching program is going to hold you accountable. It's going to make you focus on this problem. So another day doesn't go by, another week doesn't go by, another month doesn't go by, and you're missing something.
That's exactly right. Exactly right. Okay, somebody's asking if I'm going to use Facebook, will I be missing out? So, yeah, the Facebook community is really rich. I would definitely say you'd be missing out a little bit, but because we have now added the ability to ask questions inside the online course that's brand new, just turned live a couple days ago, that will allow you to communicate with our coaches, which is a big deal. It's a huge improvement in our program. So you're going to get a lot of support there. You're going to get a lot of support. And again, the key is we want you to reach your goals, whatever your goals are. So come join us, share your goals in the online course, and let's get it going. Let's see here. What else do we got? Let me look at the Q&A document, see if anything's been added. Okay, I have a question. Any justifiable reason why document time? Okay, okay, this is a good question. Somebody's saying, is there any justifiable reason why doctors are telling patients over 70 years old that an A1C is 7.0 is okay? So this is probably referring to, there's been some recent guideline adjustments that came out saying that some higher A1Cs are actually okay. And the bottom line is, here at Mastering Diabetes, we certainly want people to get their A1C much lower than that. But we are definitely still in the camp of teaching people to not overreact about blood glucose readings. Blood glucose readings in A1C is not the actual disease. That's a symptom. The disease is insulin resistance. So somebody who has an A1C is 7.0 is certainly living with some insulin resistance. And we're going to focus on that, and we're going to focus on the lifestyle habits that are going to reverse insulin resistance for the long term. And the blood glucose is going to come down just by addressing the insulin resistance. So we don't have a huge like overarching focus on you got to fix the A1C, you got to fix the blood glucose. No. It's more about addressing the root cause and your overall health. And as John talked about earlier, using medications to fix that A1C does not make you healthier. All right? Hope that's helpful. All right.
Yeah.
Go ahead, John.
No, I'm just glad you emphasized that.
Awesome. Okay, great. So let's see here. Somebody's saying, what is the decision tree for? So the decision tree is a tool that Cyrus and I have developed. And what it does is it helps us as coaches overview your entire day. Okay, so the decision tree is designed for you to document your health-based decisions throughout the day. When did you exercise? What did you eat for breakfast and lunch and dinner? When did you use medication? When did a stressful event occur? Okay, so the decision tree is designed, and when you follow that lesson and you use it properly, you take a picture of it, you post it in our online course or on the Facebook group so our coaches can see it. We get a bird's eye view of your entire day, and that's where we can really help you and pinpoint where things are going wrong. Why was that blood glucose high at this time? A lot of people are confused. Oh, my fasting blood glucose is high, but then it's lower later in the day. We explain that. We teach that to you. And so we can help you make sense of everything that's happening when you're using a decision tree. So that's a tool we teach you how to use. And it makes it so this virtual coaching process can be successful. And that's why we've had thousands of people join our program. We have so many success. Every day there's a new success story in the Facebook group. I am not exaggerating. I have a new success story of somebody saying, I went to my doctor, and these are my new blood results. I got my A1C. I'm losing weight. I'm the first time ever eating all this fruit. I'm still losing weight. We hear this every single day in a group of we have over 1,300 strong right now in that group. So it's really fun. It's really fun. And like I was saying earlier, success is contagious. When you see people succeeding, you're part of that community. You're just like, man, I want to do that too. I want to do what Tammy did. I want to do what John did. I want to do what Don did. All right. So another person. Can a person with type 2 diabetes and heart disease take fish oil? So we would recommend not using fish oil. Do you want to add anything to that, John?
Yeah, just why don't you get what you're looking for from where it actually comes, where the same place the fish get it, the algae.
Brilliant. It's that simple. It really is. So we definitely this was addressed in the summit for sure by several of the experts. And again, if you haven't got the all access packs, you still have the opportunity to do that. It's really very clear. You do not need fish oil. And watch the Rick Dina interview. It makes it very clear. All right. Okay, so let me scroll through, see if I had any new questions coming that I can answer real quick. All right. All right. Let's see. Somebody's saying... Okay, somebody's asking about basically fat being necessary for the brain. So how do you determine how much fat you should have? This is great. So there are guidelines provided by the government, provided in the peer-reviewed research on the amount of essential fatty acids that are necessary for health, okay? You need alpha-linoleic acid and linoleic acid. And then you have to have healthy lifestyle habits. Then those essential fatty acids, your body converts into DHA and EPA. This is all covered in the Rick Dina lecture we covered in our online course. So you do not need to be worried about your fatty acid consumption on a low-fat, plant-based whole food diet. We address it head-on. So you just don't need to worry about it, honestly. You could use Chronometer. If you are worried and questioning that, in our program, we teach how to use nutrition software so you can be clear and know that you're getting everything you need. We're not telling you guys just do what we say and just trust us, believe us. We're always about objective information, giving you information so you are empowered, you know where it's coming from, you understand the research. Like John was saying the person who said to your doctor, hey, you need to eat red meat, like show me the research. Ask your doctor to show you the research. And we're very happy to share the research that we used for our recommendations and why low-fat, plant-based whole food nutrition is evidence-based and is completely safe. So I hope that is helpful. Let's see. Okay. All right. Well, I think we've done good here, John. Is there anything else you'd like to add before we go?
No, I want to reemphasize that coaching is essential, and you need support and you need community. It's the missing link. When you try to do it on your own, it is so hard. You're going to slip. You're going to fall. I relied on coaching. I relied on community, and that's what we want to provide. And that's what the coaching program is going to do. And all the resources at a fingertip. You want to make this as easy as possible. You want to make it as convenient. You want to be able to take advantage of the law of energy conservation.
That's beautiful. Absolutely. Guys, we'd love to have you join. Come work with us. Give it a shot. Look, the whole program, it's a money-back guarantee. So there's really no risk to join our program. If you get in, you start using it, you're not happy, then you use our refund policy. It's no problem. So we know that's not going to happen once you get in. Come join us. Click the button in the box to redeem this offer, and we'll catch you guys next time. Thanks for joining.